Hey, are you able to see my screen okay? Okay, perfect. I was on my period one day and felt frustrated as I threw yet another pad into the garbage. Why was I having to pick between my well-being and the well-being of the planet? When I looked into it, these products that we're merely using for 4 to 8 hours sit in the landfills for over 500 years. And there's over 20 billion of them and their packaging that get thrown into the landfills in North America every single year. And as if that wasn't bad enough, these products also contain harmful carcinogens such as lead, arsenic, PFAS, and dioxins. This is a problem that 50% of the world population faces. That's why we decided that it was time for a revolution. Aruna is revolutionizing the way we manage our menstrual health with compostable menstrual products that are made out of local plant byproducts, such as food and crop waste. Why food and crop waste, you might be wondering? Well, we saw an opportunity. Right now, farmers and food manufacturers are either discarding of their waste into landfills or burning it. We provided them a better solution and redirected that waste into our proprietary technology where we have IP for extracting the fiber, turning it into nonwovens, as well as turning it into pads. And we take those fibers and we're able to turn them into pads that are better for the body and the planet. Right now, we're able to use virtually any type of plant-based materials as our feedstock. So think of anything from corn, soy, canola, hemp, all the way to orange peels. We're able to take all of those materials, put it through our proprietary process, and extract these clean and safe fibers from them. And every time we've mentioned this, we get asked about diapers, we get asked about a whole assortment of products, and we've realized that we can tap into a much larger industry as well and have a massive impact on that industry too. So when we looked into this, the global disposable hygiene product market industry is right now $211 billion. And of that, the global menstrual product market is $63.2 billion. So we're starting with menstrual products, so the full assortment from pads to tampons and panty liners, and we're intending to move into diapers, both children and adults, maternity products, as well as medical PPE. Um, what's really cool about our fibers and the products that we have the capacity to create is they don't sit in the landfills for generations to come. In fact, once you put them into the compost, they break down within 30 days. And they can prevent over 650 kilotons of CO2 equivalent emissions by utilizing the food and crop waste as the feedstock. We're starting with menstrual products because we see a unique business opportunity right now. It's a policy-driven marketplace, so there's many countries, including Canada, that's requiring menstrual products to be provided in the workplace. So by the employer to the employee or to their clients or to students. And so we're taking advantage of this and providing menstrual pad subscriptions for businesses so that they can not only meet the mandate, but they can also provide sustainable menstrual products to their clients, users. And what we're able to do at the same time is not only are we able to start generating that ongoing revenue much faster, but we're able to increase that brand and product awareness for when we do launch into the larger D2C market. Our products are not only compostable both at home and industrially, but we utilize sustainable materials that are free of harmful toxins and carcinogens. But on top of that, our users have told us how much more comfortable they are because of the natural fibers and the fact that they're more breathable. And in addition to that, we have spent a lot of time on the performance of these products. So looking at making sure that they're highly absorbent as well as leak proof. This is actually a problem that we're seeing with the market right now. The lower sustainable products, so the unsustainable products rather, they have better performance, but again, they're not sustainable, so they're going to become a problem for the future generations. But as sustainability increases and you're incorporating more plant-based fibers, we're finding that these brands that are trying to be more sustainable are not focusing on functionality. So we've put in a lot of time to make sure that not only are we more sustainable, but we're highly functional and have high performance as well. So we're starting with the B2B market through B2B subscriptions right now, and we're working to increase our capacity. And right now we have approximately 150,000 in projected sales for this year. We just started selling this past month, and we have generated 30,000 in August. Moving into 2025, we want to take advantage of a few exciting PR opportunities that we have. And so we're also going to be launching into the D2C market through e-commerce and exploring retail, as we found that there are some very successful businesses that have been able to scale through retail opportunities as well. And then moving into 2026, we're going to be, we'll have the capacity to explore expanding our product line as well as licensing our IP as well. We know that this is a massive challenge that we've taken on, but my background is in engineering, so I've brought several medical devices to the market, ranging from simple assistive technologies all the way to surgical robots. And in addition to that, my co-founder is a registered nurse who deeply understands this industry well. In addition to that, we're both menstruators, and so we understand our beachhead market very well and understand the products that we're bringing to the market. In addition to that, we have an assortment of brilliant engineers on our team, all the way from biomedical, mechanical to environmental, making sure that we have all the right perspectives on the team. In addition to that, we're growing our marketing and operations teams as well. We also have advisors that have a cumulative of over 100 years of experience in this industry, and are retired directors from Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, with both innovation and manufacturing experience. And we have the support of many others. We've participated in multiple accelerators, as well as have input from organizations such as GFL, who is a compost manufacturer, Bio Enterprise, who supports our connections with all of Canada's farmers. So we have the support of a lot of people and have been able to get to where we are today with their support. Right now, we're raising 2 million to bring Aruna pads to the market, and with the 2 million, we'll be bringing on those key hires that we talked about. So not just the marketing, but also the operational team for when we do scale our manufacturing, as well as increasing our marketing to ensure that we're hitting our targets for sales, and scaling up our pilot facility. Thank you for your time. We hope you join our revolution. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Rashmi's at Climate Week, so she's probably got someone knocking at the door bringing her to the next event. That'll give a perfect amount of time to collect your feedback.
Oh, sorry.
No
I'm currently
problem at
just in
all.
a hotel and they were knocking on the door.
No problem. That's what I said. I said you were at Climate Week, so you got a lot going on. So no problem at all. It gives Alec and Sony the time to process a little bit and then collect their thoughts. I will give you share this with you. It was 7 minutes, so you've got lots
Oh,
of
one
room
more
to breathe.
time.
Yeah. So you have about another 3 to 5 minutes to work with, which is great. So
Okay. I thought I
like,
was overtime last time for some reason, so I took out some slides. I don't know if you noticed that, but
no,
it's good
yeah,
to
well,
know.
yeah, and I'll always share the amount of time with you, so you
Okay,
have
great.
that,
Thank you.
and no problem at all. Okay, let's start with our feedback. Yeah, Sony, I love it. Love the initiative to go off mute. So dive right in.
Rashmi, definitely a great presentation. I mean, I've had the fortunate opportunity here before, but still, regardless, really good pitch. Some question I had, you had mentioned that you have a proprietary IP. Do you mind speaking a bit about it? Like, has that in regards to like I guess the process itself, and also any sorts of regulatory approvals you need in regards to this?
That's a great question. Actually, that was I'm just gonna stop sharing so I can talk to you.
Yeah.
So that was a great question. And actually a comment that has been made throughout this week is the questions about IP as well as regulatory. So I think I'm gonna be putting in slides specifically on both of those. So in terms of our IP, what we currently have is IP around our fiber extraction process. And I guess by that I mean we have like either provisional patents or PCTs for all of these. So we have fiber extraction, we have our compostable leak-proof layer, we have fiber composition, we have the pre-processing of the material, and we have biochar for menstrual products as well. So we have a few IP that I think is creating a little moat around us. And then in terms of the regulatory, we're picking pads to start with very specifically because it's not regulated as a medical device in most of
Hmm.
the world. In the US it is, but it's regulated as like the lowest class medical device, so kind of the same as like a Band-Aid or a toothbrush.
Hmm.
And so in that sense, we are what we need to do, or what we have done rather, is we've set up a QMS system, and we're going to be self-registering right before we launch into the US market. So it's going to be like we need to give them like a 2-week timeline. So we need to register, give them 2 weeks, and then we're able to launch. So just before we launch, we're going to do that.
Got it. And as a follow-up question to that, you mentioned that some of your processes and IP is patent pending. When are you expected to get the full approval, and what does the timeline look like for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have several provisional patents that we have just converted into PCTs to kind of give us a little bit more time.
Hmm.
And so in terms of turning it into the full application, that's going to be part of the funding from this race, is we're going to be
Got it.
using it to convert them into full patents.
Okay, awesome. Um, I I promised only two more questions.
No, I appreciate it.
In regards to traction, can you speak a bit more about the traction? Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had traction in a few different ways. So we have a massive wait list of people that have signed up to like have I get access to our pads. So right now we have over 1,500 people signed up to our wait list. And then in addition to that, we have started getting our first couple of purchase orders this past month, as I mentioned. And so in August, we got purchase orders from the government of Nova Scotia, from law firms, manufacturing facilities in Canada, as well as in the UK as well, because we are ready to go to sell in the UK. Those are some of the purchase orders that we've got. We've also done a lot of user trials too, to make sure that, we're getting a lot of feedback before we do like a big launch into the market.
mhm.
And so we've done quite a lot of user driven like development, customer driven development. And so we were able to figure out, hey, they need a longer pad. So we created the pad to be longer. They needed wings in like different places. And so, it really helped us to figure out what the design and how we should be making our pads. And so
Right.
I would say that is part of our traction as well, is now that we have that type of like customer buy-in, they're like, oh, we have seen you develop these pads, and they've gone on and they've pre-ordered on our website now that it's
Mhm.
available. So I would count that as customer traction for us as well.
No, for sure. No, that's definitely great to hear, and congrats to date on those. My last question is around the manufacturing. I know I had the opportunity to speak to you a bit about it during the Mars Women in Clean Tech. Now, I remember you had mentioned that you have a factory or manufacturing factory out on the Atlantic. Now, how do you envision that kind of scaling as you take bigger purchase orders? Do you have to open many factories, or what are your kind of like plans for that?
Yeah, so right now what we're doing is we're kind of doing it in 2 steps. So the manufacturing facility in Nova Scotia, we're scaling up the fiber extraction.
Okay.
And so while we're doing that, we're actually doing most of our manufacturing in Europe. And I think
Okay.
I mentioned that as well.
Yeah.
And so we're working with an equipment manufacturer who's able to manufacture our pads for us right now. And so how we anticipate it is our Nova Scotian manufacturing facility will have the ability to supply North America.
Okay.
And then the partners that we're working with in Europe will have the ability to scale into Europe. And so we're intending to make strategic partnerships like that to help us scale into different regions. But yeah, in Nova Scotia, the facility that we're creating for manufacturing will have the capacity to support all of North America. And then in addition to continue to scale our fiber extraction, we anticipate setting up micro manufacturing facilities in high density agricultural areas just for fiber extraction, so that we don't need to transport that like raw material everywhere. We can
Mhm.
transport it within the region, extract that high value material, and then transport it to the Nova Scotian facility, let's say, to convert it into the menstrual products.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great question, Sony. Alec.
Hi.
Yeah, hi, Rashmi. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Sony asked a lot of the questions that I had as well, but yeah, I thought the slides were great. The story's simple, straightforward, good team. I'd like to see that. And like I said, Sony asked a lot of the questions. I think you explained the IP nicely, but I would love to see a slide on that actually.
Yeah, that is a great
And
point.
something that shows, I mean, the way you described it is great, that the fact that you're covering all the kind of steps in the process. I'd love to see something like that with the PC filings when they've been done, some kind of like, flow chart slide, if you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Totally,
But that
totally.
would be really helpful, especially because you had extra time. Now maybe it just comes up as a question and you can throw it up as an additional slide, but something like that is pretty important. I do see what you're doing is the IP is really pretty key to
Yeah.
all this. Yeah, I also thought, the subscription for business is that's a unique way to go about it. So that's a great approach as well. And Sony asked about that. So yeah, the fact that you have the POs is pretty key. I'm curious as to how you actually plan to build out the sales team in order to do that, or what you've been doing so far to be successful. How have you done it so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's been great for us so far is that it's been largely through word of mouth. So people kind of talk about us and they're like, hey, this is what we're working on. And then we kind of get people reaching out to us and being like, hey, we heard you're doing this. We need to meet this mandate. We'd love to meet it with your products. And so that's kind of how it's been going. But how I see the scaling, we currently have a couple more larger companies in the pipeline, like Deloitte. Those types of companies seem to have sort of more of a process to onboard us for procurement. And so what we're planning to do is create a sales pipeline where we're essentially connecting firstly with the organizations that have sustainability as one of their mandates, and highlighting that they need to meet this mandate, or providing Mentor products and sort of working through that. We've also been at CHFA. And so we've been able to connect with a lot of really useful organizations through CHFA that are connected to the facility operations where they get all their products from. And so we're kind of approaching and seeing if that might be a good alternative for us too. But I think it's not an area that me or my co-founder have expertise in. And so we're definitely looking to bring on the right people for that as well.
Yeah, I guess, do you have a forecast to show what kind of sales you need to do? Like, there's no discussion really of price or your unit economics. So do you have something that goes into that now? Now maybe, like from a pitch standpoint, I think you're successful in the sense that I'm just looking at, do I want to get more information? But the next thing I would be asking would be, do you have unit economics?
Unit
What is the
economics.
cost?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the landed cost per pad right now is 35 cents per pad. And then we're currently selling it at $1 per pad. Where with shipping and everything, it ends up being, the margins end up being about 50% right now, but that's at the current scale that we're manufacturing. And so as we increase that scale, we're going to be able to increase that profit margin to about 75% to like 75% is what we forecasted. And so within the next year, we're really aiming to focus not just in Canada, but as well as in the US and the UK. And so with that, we're aiming to generate approximately 2.5 million in revenue next year.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I think, yeah, you just need to be aware that, there's a great story around this, but at the same time, it has to be cost effective or it's going to change your value proposition on what you're doing.
Totally.
I mean, just as a kind of person who's been around and tried various different business models strategically, I like the fact that you're targeting enterprise subscription. That's a fantastic approach. The obvious other question would be, shouldn't you just license to the big manufacturers? It's like, last week they had that toilet paper roll, articles come out around the sustainability of toilet paper.
Yeah.
And, the big companies are making moves towards sustainability. They have the channels already, they have the brand. So, don't underestimate setting up, you're going to set up manufacturing facilities and all the channels and the website and the delivery and do everything and establish a brand and all that stuff. That's all really hard things to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, as an investor, my obvious question would be, shouldn't you just be focusing on your IP and
Yeah.
focusing on the sustainability and selling it to the companies that also have mandates to be more sustainable in their products? So
Totally.
just some food for thought, I guess.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's everything for me on the whole. And you know, I think it was well done. I think you have a bit more time. You can explain some of these points that Sony and I have raised. But yeah, it would definitely take me to the next level of wanting to dig into some details. Well done.
Amazing. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alec. Thank you, Sony.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I'm going to end the recording now.